Hey, let me ask you a question. How does healthcare and entrepreneurship go together? It kind of feels like oil and water, maybe. I don't know, but we're here with some fantastic people. We have Marty, and Marty, what's your last name?
My name, Marty Larson.
Marty Larson. Okay, and we have Justin. We're going to get to Justin in a second, but what's your role first of all in healthcare and pharmacy and all this stuff?
So I've got a couple different roles. I've been in the healthcare field since I graduated from Cedarville in '89. Started in finance
Mm,
and accounting, ended up running their IT department. Was able to do a lot of health information technology when the movement came along.
okay.
And then also I've been involved with the School of Pharmacy since the beginning in a 2008-ish timeframe from an advisory committee standpoint.
Wow.
And so that's been great to see. And really not being a pharmacist has added value of looking at healthcare from the outside in and trying to help the school understand really what's going on in healthcare.
So you're kind of like a practitioner more than some, is that what they might say?
That might say, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And now I'm the strategic consultant for the Center for Pharmacy Innovation. So we're really starting to look at what's going on in innovation in the pharmacy space, and Justin can talk more a little bit more about that. But really,
Yeah.
there's a huge need here and an opportunity when we think about entrepreneurship within the healthcare field as well as the pharmacy field.
I'm excited to hear more
Yeah.
about that. And I've heard, Justin, by the way, what's your last name?
Yeah, last name's Cole, C-O-L-E.
Cole.
Yep.
Perfect. So, Justin, I've heard quite a bit of like, I would call it, what's the word? Almost like urban legend about the pharmacy, or I don't know, rumors, like good stuff, as in you have a doctoral program.
That's right. Yeah. So here at Cedarville, we do have a Doctor of Pharmacy program. We often call that degree the PharmD.
PharmD.
That's right. Yep. And we've been graduating people from our program, great practitioners now for quite a few years. We're excited about all that we get to do here at Cedarville.
That's awesome. So I was watching the graduation just because I'm kind of a nerd. I was watching on the live stream,
Right.
because I'm
Yep.
thinking I'm going to be a new professor. I better see what they do. So next year when I'm there in person, I don't know, that's just how I am. But I saw a lot of PharmD people graduating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many, I mean, is this thing growing?
Yeah, we have in most of our classes about 40 graduates.
Wow.
And so that's our goal, to stay right around that number every single year. I don't know if we'll get into this later on, but we are actually in need of really a lot of people in the healthcare field.
Mm.
COVID changed the dynamic of staffing in hospitals and
Wow.
pharmacies and clinics all over the United States. So we're actually in need of more nurses and pharmacists, physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs right now all across the nation. So it really makes the healthcare ripe for entrepreneurship and innovation. We need to think about our system differently because we've got a shortage of all of these people.
Well, let's talk about that, Marty, with the whole COVID that happened. I mean, it really shifted a lot of industries, but we went from almost face to face to now big time. What do you call it? Telehealth?
Telehealth, yes, and that is still happening. It was happening before, but now that because of COVID, it just kind of did make that explode.
Yeah.
And the opportunities to leverage that technology in a space that, whether in a rural community, for example, you don't have to drive 50 miles to see a doctor anymore. You can see that doctor by a telehealth, or even in with my own health. If I've got a small issue, it's like, oh, I can just telehealth the doctor to say, hey, I've got this little rash, what's going on? And so the COVID has really been used to explode that telehealth technology. And then within that technology, there's just even more opportunities how we use it in the space. There was another organization in Troy that actually it looks like when you do the telehealth, it's a 3D image, and it feels like you're right
It's
there.
like a hologram.
It's like a hologram. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
It's pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, I love innovation, and there's this group called Abundance 360 that has a lot of health people and innovation. But I think the two go hand in hand. Justin, maybe you can talk briefly about. I really think today we're talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about healthcare, and then we're talking about faith and our love for God. How can all three of those things, like some people be like, what? How do you mix all three together? But do you see that they're compatible?
Yeah. And honestly, if we're doing it correctly, they have to be compatible. If we think about who we are as people, image bearers of God, that means we as Christians have a calling to care for others, expressing the love that we've experienced from Jesus Christ to those other people.
Wow.
Being image bearers means that we recognize we're not just taking care of their physical health. We've got to understand that these are souls, right? We're embodied souls. And so to just care for their physical needs is actually not caring for the whole person.
Wow.
And so faith has got to go hand in hand with healthcare if we're truly going to meet both the physical and temporal needs that they have when they come to us in healthcare, but more importantly, the eternal needs that they have, namely to understand their Savior.
Oh.
And so let's talk a little bit more about how healthcare innovation all go together there. So I'm a firm believer that as image bearers of God, He is our creator and the creator of all things. But we were given the ability and the charge to have dominion over all things, right? And that goes beyond just filling the world with people. It involves also, in some ways, being sub-creators. Now, we don't create things out of nothing like God did, but we can take the things that He has given us, observe how they can be put together in different ways, and use them to better the lives of people around us. So I see them all come together.
I think it starts with, this sounds weird thought, but I think it starts with Legos. Like a little kid, a little kid, reenacts playing with a doll, building a house. Like, you don't have to teach a kid to do that. I mean, especially boys, you give them 2 sticks or who knows, and they're creating things.
Yep.
So you really believe that that's just an extension of our image bearing.
That's right. That's exactly who we are.
Cool. Okay. So Marty, I got a question for you. Who's the typical PharmD student? Like, let's go. What do their age look like? Is this more a Justin question?
Oh, I think Marty can answer too.
I don't know. It might be more of a Justin question. In fact, I was just talking to one of the students, and one of the things he said, as a PharmD student, a lot of the students are ones that want to be in healthcare, but they don't want to deal with the patient face to face. They don't want to have to deal with some of those physical issues. But they probably are in their early 20s, and the demographic here at Cedarville, and Jessica can talk more about this, but we've got a very diverse demographic, and I think 45% of our students are minority, and so that's pretty cool as well. They're driven. They do have as I've looked at it, because I'm not a to Z person, but they're very like detail oriented.
Yeah, because you can't mess up dosage.
You don't want to, for sure. But I think Justin can expound upon that as well, as some of what the students are.
It reminds me of a weird movie. Remember, the old movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
But Mr. Gower, I think, or whatever. But anyways, the pharmacist messes the thing up. And it's a story of not a good pharmacy experience. So, but let's talk about the good pharmacy experience. Who is that type of person?
Well, I do believe that Marty's on the right track. Often we see, sometimes we'll call them type A, but that's an overgeneralization. People who are very detail oriented, right? They want to make sure that things are followed and that we've dotted every I and crossed every T. All of our students will typically say they have this really strong desire to help people. And I think that goes for a lot of people in healthcare. There's usually a curiosity also in some of the foundational sciences, like sometimes math, chemistry, biology for a lot of our students. So that's probably the typical pharmacy student. And I'll just reiterate, as Marty did, we do have a really diverse group of students here, which is a lot of fun. We get to work with students from all walks of life, and that helps us to prepare them and their classmates to address some of the health equity issues that we see in our healthcare system today.
So forgive my ignorance. Is it that they get an undergrad in anything, then they go to the pharmacy doctorate program, or what if they know from the front end, does it actually help save time?
Yeah, great question. There are multiple pathways. I think the most common is that many students will get some type of bachelor's degree in a science-related field in most cases. So it could be biology, it could be chemistry, but we have had students in many other majors that simply have to go and make sure they've met the science requirements as well for admission, and then they can come into the PharmD program.
So it's almost like prerequisites.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about innovation. And I don't have it on now, but I usually at nighttime I wear what's called an aura ring.
Mhm.
And you know about this?
Yeah.
So the aura ring, I mean, it is a good sleep coach for me because I'm one of those guys that, if I'm not aware of it, I'll just kind of like stay up late, get up early, and sleep. But
Mhm.
it's an innovation that helps me be better health. How are you seeing devices and new technologies break through?
And really, I think that's a great lead into where we've got an individual responsibility for our health, right?
Mm.
So if we are managing it through the wearables, even my Apple Watch, right?
Yes.
It's I exercised this morning. It says, "Oh, fill the
Yes.
ring, Marty," and so
Right.
you fill the ring, But from a standpoint of using it to adapt in the healthcare field and understand that we have devices that are that the wearables can connect to the phone, then connect to the physician, and
Wow.
so whether it's I'm sorry,
Like an aura ring
an Oura ring or
yeah.
anything like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's innovative. It's something that I can take responsibility
Sure.
for, and then I can get that reward, if you will, of seeing that
Yes.
my health is increasing or doing better. My quality of life is doing better as well.
Totally. So, have you ever heard of the Strava app?
I have, yes, yeah.
I mean, I use that. It's a gamification, for my
Mhm.
cycling to make sure that I'm doing a certain elevation per week, a certain mileage per week. Kind of like what Marty said, I'm seeing, is there achievements? Am I behind? Tony Robbins says this, I certainly don't agree with everything, but one thing I do like that he says is he says that happiness in life is really based around progress as people. Like, in other words,
Okay.
if we don't see any progress in our marriage, in our walk with God, in our lives, we feel unhappiness. And so I don't know, do you feel like let's just even take pharmacy students, like they're not in school for life, they're progressing
Mhm.
and
Yep.
and they're moving to a point of graduation. What happens after graduation?
Well, for the pharmacist, first, I'll just say that we want our graduates here at Cedarville to really embrace this idea of lifelong learning. I
Yeah.
feel like one of the keys to innovation is that you're constantly being curious, looking for something new. Maybe it's just going through your day and finding this little thing that bugged you, right? And writing
Right.
down and saying, hey, what could I do to change that? So I think connected with what the pharmacist does after they graduate is this idea of being a lifelong learner.
Oh, that's good.
Our pharmacists can go in a whole bunch of different directions as far as their careers go. We have a lot of our graduates here at Cedarville that go into leadership positions within healthcare spaces.
Wow.
We're really proud of them for that. We have a number of entrepreneurs and some groundbreakers. One in particular that I'll note, we have an alumnus that just really paved the way for more pharmacists to serve full-time in medical missions around the world.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't a position for him, but he went and made it happen. And now they're asking, where can we find more people like you?
That's cool.
So yeah, our pharmacists end up going to a lot of different places.
He invented the job that he wanted.
He did.
That's pretty cool. So it sounds like, here from the beginning of the pharmacy program. Is that kind of true?
I have, yeah, pretty close to it. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So is it, I don't know, I don't think I've ever been at a university that has a pharmacy department. Is this common? Are you guys one of the few, or one of the few Christian ones, or is this a growing field where more schools are starting to do this? What do you think?
We definitely one of the few Christian schools.
Wow.
And in Ohio, I believe there are 5 different schools, and we're the one Christian school. As far as the trend, I don't think the trend is there as far as moving forward. But no, it's I've been here since the beginning. It's been encouraging to see the growth in the program, and then just being a part of, as Justin said, seeing the students do different things within the entrepreneurial space. And just for me, being a part of that, I love being around people. I love thinking through that innovative side and seeing opportunities to use our God-given creativity and to impact people.
That's
and
great.
So many opportunities. When Justin was talking about another student, I'm thinking is working down in Cincinnati in the desert, a pharmacy desert.
Really?
And so just opening a pharmacy down in Cincinnati addressing the disparities in healthcare, addressing those needs that we don't even recognize because we've got all our needs taken care of. But there are so many deserts, whether it's a pharmacy desert, a food desert, a access desert. We have an opportunity to get creative, if you will, and say, well, how can we use our God-given skills to help those folks out?
I love that. Justin, I want you to talk while I'm going to get a water here.
Sure.
Tell us about longevity, because I've been seeing David Sinclair. I've been seeing Peter Diamandis. I've been seeing these authors writing on longevity. Some, would be in the humanist area where it's almost like, where are we going with all this? Are we trying to conquer death? Is that even possible? Maybe you can talk a little bit about longevity while I get a water here. You just talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've actually hit on a topic I've been reading and thinking a lot about too. So I actually just read Peter Attia's Outlive. And so he is very big on this idea of really the key to longevity or living longer is to live better first. And then the years will follow. Now,
so it's not just living longer. The goal isn't to live to 300 and have a horrible quality of life.
That's right. Yeah. Instead, he uses a term he calls health span, which is the quality of life that you have during those years. As he writes, of course, we from a Christian worldview, we recognize that God is sovereign over every one of our days, right?
Sure.
And that we don't have complete control over things. But there are certain things that are within our control. And this is one area of healthcare that is so incredibly ripe for innovation.
Yeah.
The US, we have what I would call a sick care system.
Yes.
We are really in a place where we need to transition to keeping people healthy so that they don't become patients.
Yes.
And there are ways to do that. So some quick things with longevity, diet. It's huge. It makes a difference.
Yep.
Simply moving your body in the right types of ways regularly makes a huge difference. So exercise. Sometimes there may be supplements. If we have different vitamin deficiencies, nutritional deficiencies based on where you live, we can address those things. And the last one I'll mention, and I think this is tied with the Christian worldview strongly, is this idea of sleep. God created us to need rest.
Yep.
And sometimes we try to push the edges of life. And in some ways, we're denying our creatureliness, if I can use that as a word. We're trying to say, we just want to accomplish more and more and more. But in some ways, this I guess, ebb and flow of work and rest, it's for our good that God made it. And we need to embrace that. And if we do, what we'll find is sometimes we live healthier lives and we can sometimes live longer lives as well.
Yeah. I've gotten into debates before. Marty, we'll go to you on this one. But, I've gotten into debates because I do read a lot on longevity and, just different types of, there's a thing called Fountain Life where you can get these scans for your body where you kind of know what's coming. And some people would say, God knows when you're going to die and you just shouldn't even care. But yet, it also seems wise that, hey, if you know your body is harmed by a certain substance, avoid it. Like we're not running in front of buses and being like, well, if God wants me to stop, he'll just stop the bus. Like there's this whole responsibility thing. Do you see that as a tension? Like a tension between being overly concerned and not concerned at all. Personally,
no. But I do see the tension when I
see it with other people.
When I talk to my dad about it, who's 90, and he's trying to live to 100. There's a tension of, well, what does that mean, and what all do I need to be doing to take care of myself? But then also there's things like he had a heart cath that he didn't need to have, but there's a risk there. For myself, when I talk about longevity, as I'm getting older, I haven't exercised as much as I need to. So I just started because it's like, oh, my body's deteriorating. And I know that because I can feel it. So that tension isn't there personally, but as I see myself aging, I see the need to be doing some of the things on a personal responsibility standpoint. And really, when you look at healthcare across the nation, taking responsibility for our healthcare will reduce the cost and the need significantly.
That's good. I like that. So let's go to you, Justin, here. We got just a few more minutes, but What would you say to somebody who is watching this and maybe they have maybe themselves, maybe a sister, brother, friend, daughter, son, that they're like, this person's always been into health. Maybe they should consider the pharmacy program.
Yeah. Well, I have so many things I could answer, but I think the first would be, we, again, are in a time where we need great pharmacists who think outside of the box. Again, a lot of times pharmacy students are attracted to the profession because they like to have things that are very regimented and they feel like they can follow. But when I talk to pharmacy leaders all across the US, what they say they want right now in a pharmacist is a problem solver. They want someone who will look for areas of opportunity, and then they'll come up with solutions and be willing to try and sometimes fail too. Again, you want to do that in a safe space when there is someone else's health involved.
Sure.
But we really need pharmacists who are problem solvers. We need pharmacists who care about people. And more importantly, we need Christians who happen to be pharmacists. We say that a lot in the school. We're not training pharmacists who happen to be Christians, but Christians who will use pharmacy as ministry. And so if that's something that resonates with you, wow, then pharmacy is a great place to be.
I like that. Okay. That's good to know. So Marty, maybe as we, land the plane here, if they are interested, I know they could probably go to cedarville.edu and click around, but is there other, I don't know, do you guys have a page, or do you have any articles, or maybe you're even available if people want to reach out? Thoughts? Definitely.
We've got our own outreach department, if you're our admissions department. And so definitely go out to the webpage and see some, there's a link there. I'm sure you can apply and or at least say I'm interested.
Yeah.
As far as reaching out, we're all available. I'm mentoring a young man in 10th grade, and I'm recruiting him now.
Wow.
Saying, hey, let's go into the pharmacy space because there's a need, and he's Hispanic. And I said there's still a need within the colored community, that we need these folks within the healthcare space. And that's across, as Justin was saying, this isn't just about pharmacy as well, but across the healthcare field, we are hurting in many ways for the workforce.
I love the fact that you said a lot of the students that there's a real diversity. And, I'll be honest, I've never thought about being a pharmacist. I don't have a huge desire for it, but do I absolutely respect what medicine can do? 100%, just real quick story. So I come from a family that has low HDLs. Okay. And my father at the age of 41 had his first heart attack. And as a young teenage kid, it really scared me. I was like, wow, he almost died. So I started to take my heart health seriously from a very young age, had ate really, really solid exercise. But no matter what I try to do, my HDLs, I've tried all the stuff, everything, and I still need to take a pill. And there's been seasons where I've tried to get off the pill and tried to, tweak it. And my doctor just says, Kary, you just need it. And I have another doctor friend who says, look, we all really should be on this one particular medicine. In fact, most of the doctors are, and he says, just because they know the benefits. So God is taking medicine, especially with mental health, even. Let's go there.
Sure. Yeah.
Taking medicine is not anti-God.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Oh, there are a lot of beliefs about that. And I guess what I would say is the Lord in his sovereign grace has given us tools to help with our health, right? So one of the things I think we in our modern society are too quick to say is that we just want a pill that fixes everything, right? And the reality is those don't exist, right? At least from our physical body standpoint, they don't exist. But we do have things that can be tools in relation to the rest of the stewardship of our bodies, right?
Yeah.
So we need to sleep well, as we've already talked about.
Right.
We need to eat well. We need to do all of these things to steward our bodies. And sometimes we also need extra tools like medication that will help as well. So I guess I see it more as
either or.
Right. It's just another tool in our toolkit. And now we need to use them wisely, right? And that's one of the things that we train our pharmacists here with. science can answer the question, can we? We can come up with all kinds of great things, but we need solid ethical principles. And for us, that's founded on the Word of God that answer the question, should we do it?
Well, that's good.
So they all work hand in hand, theology,
Yeah.
medicine, science. We've got to use them together.
Well, folks, we're talking about the E-mind, how to think like an entrepreneur and gain an exponential advantage. And it sounds like the pharmacy is in that banner as well. We all, including pharmacists, need to think like entrepreneurs. So Justin, thank you. And Marty, thanks for being here, my friend.
Yep.
And cedarville.edu is the place if people need more information. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
See ya.